Okay. Okay, thanks. Okay. All right, so starting over, what is mentor match? So the successful mentoring process depends on both people having shared common goals, expectations, having a commitment to a mentoring process, and giving and receiving trust and respect. So as I'm going through the documentation and how we've structured it, I really put an emphasis on these foundational expectations of communication. We want the mentors and mentees, when you meet each other, to get off right away with a good understanding of what that relationship is going to be like, what you can expect from each other, um, if you two are going to commit to a certain meeting schedule, so that both of you are really maximizing the benefit of this time, and no one's coming away from this feeling like it was a waste or it wasn't like an effective use. So, this is another. Our objective is to make it easy for Muslim women at various stages of their careers to come together to facilitate each other's professional development. And we think one of the 3 ways to do this is to share skills and knowledge of the successful and experienced members with new members, of course, to bring people together to establish a network of professionals. So I think this is really nice, especially for Muslim women, to connect with each other at all these different levels of our career. That's one of the hardest and most difficult things about being a Muslim and a woman in tech. And many of us are of color as well. So it's really good to have these connections and meet other people who are at the various stages of their career, inshallah. And we also want to foster this open communication and dialogue where you feel safe to ask questions about whatever you want to, and you'll trust the answers that are coming back are going to be honest and they're going to be in your best interest, inshallah. Okay, so I will go ahead and show you the wiki now. So just bring up the Notion board. There we go. So as many of you might know from what I've done in Slack before, I really am addicted to Notion. I'll make a Notion table for anything. But what I've done here is, yeah, I put together all of everything in one place. And this will be available to all the participants when you get through to the program, so that there is a hub where you can find all the documentation and resources throughout the mentoring journey. How we're going to be structuring this is it will be a 3-month cohort. So instead of having an ongoing mentor program, you'll meet with your mentor. We'll pair you up based on your application forms. We want to match people on their skill sets and their knowledge. You'll have a chance in the application form to say what you're looking for in a mentor or a mentee. And we want to match people up on very similar things. We're also going to pair or take time zones into account, because I know just from this call, we have lots of people from around the globe. So we want to make sure that you'll be able to meet people who are in a similar time zone as you. So a 3-month program. We'll check in with all the pairs at the 2-week mark and make sure that you're working together, that there's no mismatch or something's off. So we'll check in. If all things are good, alhamdulillah, you can continue. And we'll have a midpoint check, and then we'll close at 3 months. The reason why we're doing that is so with a clear start, end date, it will make goal setting a little bit easier. If we get into a situation where there are a lot more mentees than mentors, then we can have some sort of rotation, make it a little bit more realistic that way. And yeah, so inshallah, and also it'll give us a good chance to pause and evaluate how things are going on. So it'll be a 3-month program. At the end of 3 months, we'll continue and see how it goes, inshallah. Also, I didn't say this at the beginning, but if you have any questions, you can feel free to just call out and say, hey, Grace, and it's totally fine. I don't need to, this isn't like a webinar. I don't need to present the whole thing uninterrupted. So if anything is unclear, or if you have a question or just want some clarification, feel free to just jump in and ask something. So
I've got a question.
Go for it. What's up?
I've actually got quite a few of my friends, actually. They're not necessarily in tech at all, but they generally need direction, and they have been, their mums at home and would like some direction in terms of what they should do with their career, life, etc. So there's definitely a mentoring opportunity there. Would you say they would qualify to be, or I could put them in a formal kind of mentorship, what you're offering, or would you say that would be, because they're not in tech, it doesn't quite match what you would necessarily want candidates to have?
Yeah, thank you, Mara. I think that's a really excellent question, and something I'm not quite sure yet, because I feel like that really depends on how this first round is going to go, who is going to be applying, and what kind of response we're going to have.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there are lots of women in that situation in Tech Sisters who are transitioning from being a stay-at-home mom into their careers. So I would definitely think that this would be a good place for them to start. However, if there's a situation where just not that many mentors apply, then I think preference would be for a similar field. I think at this point, maybe.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Grace.
Yep. Does anyone else have a question right now? Okay, cool. Yeah, so in the mentor guide, I wanted to point out that the way that we're seeing mentors is not somebody who's going to take their mentee and tell them all of the steps that they did or how to follow exactly their path. But the mentor is going to be a light to help the mentee find their own path. So I want the mentees to come away from this feeling really empowered in themselves to discover and to decide what they want to do, what goals they want to have, to set these goals and to break them down into steps. They should be able to come away understanding that, inshallah. They should feel empowered to ask people questions, which is such a huge step of the learning process, so that those barriers feel a little bit smaller, inshallah. And they should be able to figure out where they want to be. And if by the end of the 3-month program, they decide that it's a different field from what their mentor is in, that's totally fine. They need to find their own path, inshallah. So for that, we want mentors to be, obviously really accessible, committed to the program. Likewise, mentees have to be accessible and committed to the program. We want mentors to listen and to ask questions, to help mentees discover their goals. And to facilitate that, we put in a list of questions that you can ask your mentee, and we have all sorts of guides on these questions and active listening and really how to be there for your mentee. And we'll also support the mentorship. So I want this to be an open invitation to anybody to try to be a mentor, because it really enhances your learning. You get a lot of benefits from it. And there's a lot of barakah in it because you're helping other people. As you were coming up, you received help, I received help, we all did. And so this is a way of paying that forward, inshallah. So yeah, so anybody can be a mentor. Like I was saying in another post, like a junior can mentor a student can mentor someone who's considering the career change and hasn't started yet. You don't need to have it all figured out or be at some sort of ideal final stage to be the mentor. We have an option in the application process to apply for both. And I would encourage a lot of people to think about that, because we're always learning and we're always teaching. We're always benefiting from this education, alhamdulillah. For mentees, we went through the benefits. We want you to come away with being able to plan, find ways to identify the skills that you need, identify the goals that you want to reach, and then find ways of getting there and find solutions. We want you to be a better learner, a better communicator, and feel more confident in yourself and your abilities, inshallah. And let's see, yes, also active listening, very important as well for the mentee. We want you to be sure that when you're with your mentor, no distractions, you're really committed, both of you are really committed to the time that you have together. What we're doing to facilitate that is when you start the program, you and your mentor, when we make the match, before anything starts, you'll both have an opportunity to consent to it. So before we start anything, we'll be like, hey, are you cool being this person's mentor? Are you okay being this person's mentee? And then when you two get together, you can put together a set of agreements and expectations of how the mentoring will work between you two. This is just a guideline. All these resources are guidelines, and we would encourage you to really make it your own. Ooh, would you mind muting that because I can hear the feedback? Yeah, alhamdulillah. So, what was I saying? Yeah, so an agreement to make it your own. So you can agree on the times that you would meet, agree on the frequency and the method. So you don't have to on Zoom, whatever works for both of you, you can figure it out each other. We also have a confidentiality agreement. So that, you know, in the beginning, we want to make sure that you really trust the sessions, that you feel safe there, and that anything that's brought up there is in a safe place. So before anything starts, just both of you consent that this is a safe time for learning, mentoring, for growth and development. And yeah, alhamdulillah, that both of you will respect and honor that. Let's see. We also have, I think I mentioned this, at 2 weeks, we'll check if there's any mismatches. And that's a no fault presumption. Sometimes mismatches happen, but we want to catch it early. So instead of having 3 months with somebody that's not working out, we'll catch it and reassign the match, inshallah. We also have resources that you're free to use. There's action plan, a log, objective and key results guide, and guide for feedback and personal development. And yeah, alhamdulillah. So that's the Notion board. Are there any questions on that before I go on?
Hi, Assalamu alaikum. I just want to ask a question. So in regards to the hours, if you're going to be a mentor, how many or how would that look like for weekly basis, monthly basis for the duration of 3 months?
Yeah, thanks. So that would be decided at the beginning between you and your mentee based on what you're available to do. I would say, I mean, it really depends on the situation and what both of you consent to, but something that's regular and that you can commit to on a weekly basis would be ideal, because we want to make sure that you two have the opportunity to discuss and to talk to each other, and maintain that connection throughout the program. So I won't set a specific amount. It will be decided between the pair, inshallah.
Thank you. And my second question, in terms of achieving the goal, would that be set from the beginning between the mentor and mentee, or would that be decided by someone else once the match is done?
So achieving the goal, do you mean like, well, what do you mean?
For instance, if you, and sorry, for instance, if you a new mentor, obviously you would have your own set of goals to achieve. As a mentor, you want to mentor that person for a period of time and also show that they've achieved their goal, as in either they found out more information about tech, or when we talk about the tech world, there's so many different roles and jobs in tech. So how do we know that the answer to that, basically, or the
Yeah.
goals set, are they set?
Yeah, that's really, really good. At the beginning, the mentor and mentee will talk to each other and discover what the mentee's goals are. Those are kind of go with those resources that I showed in the Notion board. They will help you discover what the goals are and write them down and break them down into manageable steps. A mentee can identify multiple goals that they want to achieve by the end of the 3-month period. They could also identify larger goals that will build off this 3-month period, inshallah. But yeah, that's something that the mentor and mentee can document in the beginning, and then that can be tracked to see the success of this batch and really the success of the program, inshallah, how many goals can be achieved. It is one of the questions that we have in the evaluation form at the midpoint, and the final check is how effective was the pair, and one of the metrics of that is goal checking. Oh, I'm just getting a message that she can't hear me. Is everyone able to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. So were there any other questions?
How imminently are we starting this program, Grace?
Well, we are starting. There we go. The applications are open now. So the applications, I'll send a link. It's there, but I'll email everybody after the call with the link to apply, and they'll be open until Friday after next, inshallah. And then we'll have the matches announced by that Monday. We'll have an orientation call, and that's when the program will start. It'll end middle of March, inshallah.
And will there be another set of cohort then that starts again in March?
Yes, there'll be another rotation, yep, inshallah. If this is a good success, we'll keep going. So the plan is, inshallah, have one each quarter. A mentee that wants to continue, at the end of this cohort, they can decide if they want to continue with their mentor, if they want to continue with a different mentor, or if they want to go off and they're good. We'll also do a 1-month check after the program finishes, just to see what was the effect of the mentoring after the program ends, inshallah. So there'll be lots of forms to check how people are feeling and how it's working, inshallah.
Thanks, Grace.
Yeah. Oh, there was a question that somebody sent in about time zones and locations, and I think I kind of briefly touched on it, but just to be clear, this is open, geographically, worldwide. We'll be matching, or time zones will be one of the factors. So we probably won't have somebody based in the UK time zone with like a Singapore time zone, so that would be pretty rough. Yeah, so we'll try our best to keep it together, inshallah. And in terms of fields, it really depends on what kind of people we have applying. We'll try our best to match it up, and we'll match based on goals, inshallah. So if someone has a very general career goals, we can match that based on that, inshallah. So yeah, very expecting a diverse range of people applying in terms of disciplines and experience. I think I'm really excited what we're going to have, inshallah.
So Grace, are you going to be the first mentor?
Yep. Mentor and mentee, because I'm putting myself down as both.
Very nice.
So yeah, I'll be in the program.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, thanks. Does anybody else have any questions or anything that they'd like to say? I know a lot of you in the beginning were saying that you wanted to understand what the program is about, and especially from a mentor perspective, how you can be involved and how you can help. Did I answer those questions satisfactorily?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of detail from you, Grace, as always. And it's great that you've put those wikis together as well. I can see the time and effort taken to put all of that together. So Jazakallah khair.
Yeah, very lucky. But like I said, I love Notion, so it's a labor of love. Alhamdulillah. Let me just check the chat. I can see some messages. Okay, good. Alhamdulillah. But yeah, if there aren't any other questions, then I think that's it. That's everything covered. I'll send the link, and I'll share the recording with everyone who kind of registered for the event, so everyone will get a chance to see the information and know what they're getting into, inshallah.
I think there is Amina asking, I would love to know what field in tech you are all in.
Yeah, that can be our closing question, closing checkout. So I'm a web developer. I work at a small agency called Happy Porch, and we make software solutions for circular economy. So a lot of my job is really everything that's front of the front end. So the UX and the UI, down to building the front end stuff. But once we get to APIs, then I start getting a little bit fuzzy. But from the front end, that's where I'm at. Yep, there you go. I mean, yeah, alhamdulillah. It's all good. All good.
So Grace, do you do the heuristic evaluations as well? And do you do that side of the UX?
Yes, but a very small scale.
Okay, so you're mainly doing Figma and then
I'm mostly in
development.
I have Figma open all day long. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. Well, I mean, obviously, in my role now, although I'm not a web developer, I do need to start learning a lot more of Figma. So you never know. I think you might be a good mentor for me.
I could be your Figma mentor.
For sure. Okay, cool.
Yeah, for sure. I have converted our team to using Figma and everyone loves it. So, yep.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Good.
Yeah, does anyone else want to talk about their field?
I've spoken enough, Grace.
I really appreciate you, Mara. Thank you.
So, I'll definitely give someone else a chance to. It would be nice to hear from the other ladies.
Yeah, I can call on some people. Let's see, Noor, do you want to? You don't have to. I don't want to put you on the spot, but.
Hi, yeah, sure. I was just wondering, can the recording be stopped at this time, or?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for